Beginners. It's meant to be as like lecture notes rather than a full-blown tape. And I have with me my wife Kathy, and I'm Jerry Herdegen. I'm also Choo-Choo the Clown. I've been blowing balloons since 1970. I've been a clown since 1965. I started balloons in 1970, and they were $1.50 a box at the time. So you can tell the difference now if you've bought balloons lately. I've lectured for small groups, and I've lectured for the Midwest Clown Conventions, about 3 or 4 of those. I've judged balloons at the Midwest Clown Conventions, have authored and illustrated an 8-page pamphlet on how to build a balloon merry-go-round. And I've designed and helped design many faces for clowns and a lot of props. I've asked my wife to sit in, and she's going to ask questions or make sure that I cover what you might think that you need to know. First of all, I'd like to talk about the kinds of balloons and the types of balloons there are. There's different sizes that we use. The main size that we use for balloon sculpturing is called a 260. That's this one here. 260 is, when it's blown up, it's 2 inches around and 60 inches long. That's what they tell you. But actually, they never get to be that size. Okay? But however, the more you blow them up, the longer they do get. You do never want to blow them all the way up. I have blown one all the way up here just to show you what the size of that is. And I get that into the screen there by turning it here. Okay? So that's a 260. 260. Years ago, we worked with what we called a 3-inch balloon. And this is a 350 here. When it's blown up, it's 3 inches round, 50 inches long. And that's how you get the numbers, 350. We've used these years ago in making balloon animals. However, when we use these, we always use multiple balloons. For instance, with this balloon here, we would have blown this one up and used 3 other balloons of different sizes, maybe a 15-inch and a 20-inch. And the 15-inch would be the ears, and 2 20-inchers would be the front legs and the back legs of a dog. It would be a big dog compared to what we do now with the one balloon, but that's the way we used to do them. This is a 350, and this is what it looks like when it's blowing up. We now have, and one that we use in sculpturing is called the 160. This one is supposed to blow up to 60 inches, 1 inch around, and these are very, very hard to blow up. So if you use these, you more than likely need a pump. At this time, I don't, but any day now I might need it.
Sometimes they're called spaghetti balloons.
And sometimes they're called spaghetti balloons, that's what my wife says. And they look like this here. Look kind of like neon light balloons, okay? They're not neon colored, but they got the roundness of a neon. Okay, so that's the 160. We also use what we call the 321, or bird body, and that's this one here. It goes up 3 inches round and should blow up 20 inches long probably, except that they have added this pointed end on this end here. And this pointed end becomes the beak of a bird or the stinger of a bumblebee. And this looks like this here. We use those in balloon blowing. There's other ways to use them, and you can find those out later. Okay. Then you have balloons that come in shapes. This is a heart balloon. When you blow this up, it becomes a 6-inch heart. you'll find that these have the shape that they're going to be when you look at them, okay? And so when it blows up, it becomes a heart. There are also other balloons like these, shaped balloons. There's a duck, and there's a man with a nose, and there's a few others, but I don't carry those, and I use just the hearts, and that's what I have with me. And we also use round balloons. However, in sculpturing, we don't use a lot of round ones. There are sometimes you want to use one, and those are, according to size, you call them 4-inch rounds, 5-inch rounds, 6, 9, 10, 12. You can get these up to 4 foot wide. However, those are a little bit expensive. That's those. And that this is an 11-inch when it's blown up. Okay, this was the 11-inch balloon. So those are the different sizes of balloons that we'll be using. I'm sure you can find other kinds, other shapes, and other things, but these are the ones basically we use in balloon sculpturing. When you're working with balloons, there's many things that can pop a balloon. Number one, you can blow the balloon up way too big. And once you do that, of course, it doesn't accept any more air, and the air's got to go somewhere, so it goes out the other end. And when it does that, it pops. Also, greasy fingers. Just remember that latex is rubber and plastic mixture. And when plastic is oil, is a form of oil, and when a thinner oil works on a heavier oil, it breaks it down. And if you're a clown, you know this, because when you take your makeup off, you need a thinner oil to take off the heavier oils that you put on, and that's how you get your makeup off. So that's what happens to your balloons if you have oily or greasy fingers. Kids with French fries, things like that. It doesn't dissolve them immediately, but it's a possibility. There's also, to warn kids after you've made something, if there's a lot of grass around, that grass pops them. They got real sharp little points. It doesn't pop them all the time, but it does pop them. Putting them on concrete and letting them blow across concrete, that usually will pop a balloon fairly quickly. When you're working, you might find something on your costume, maybe, or a name tag, or a button, or maybe a sliver that you picked up somewhere on your jacket. So when you're blowing balloons and making things, kind of keep track of, if they keep popping on you, there may be a spot that you're bumping up against. The other thing is that balloons, when they make balloons, they're made on a rod, kind of like this here, and then they make all these balloons and they dip them down into this latex and bring them out, and they go down and dry. And sometimes there'll be a little bit of sand or something on that rod, and it'll cause what they call a window. And what that is when you blow a balloon up and you see little spots where there isn't this thick balloon. There's like a little round hole, like. That's what's happened. It's gone through the second dip and covered that over, but in the first dip, the sand didn't allow it to, left a hole there. They don't always pop when you get to those, but sometimes when you get to that point, they'll pop. Also, a balloon will pop if they have holes in them, and that still happens sometimes with some balloons. You'll find that the same color keeps popping out of the same bag, and it won't happen every time that color comes up. But there's these rods that they make these on. There's like 4, 5, 6, 10, whatever they use. That may be just one of those rods that's having a problem. So 1 out of 10 balloons will pop because of that one rod from before. Okay, So those are a few of the things that can pop a balloon. And things to watch out for: slivers around a table, all kinds of things. Of course, fingernails. Make sure that you don't have any sharp points sticking out of your fingernails. Long fingernails don't pop balloons. It's just the sharp little points that come off of them. Kathy's giving me motions over here instead of asking me the questions. She says, make sure to tell people when you're blowing balloons, and if you're making them for a smaller child, first of all, give it to the parent instead of the child, and tell them this is your responsibility to take care of this balloon with your child. Make sure that they don't put it in their mouth. Okay?
Because?
Oh, well, she wants me to tell you because when they pop, there's a little piece that breaks off. And I've tried it so that I know this happens. I've blown up a balloon and actually bit it and let it pop. And there's a little teeny piece that flies off, and it most always is right in the mouth afterwards. So you have to be very careful with that. Okay? Now I'd like to show you how to blow a balloon up.
You take these up?
Yeah, we can move these here. I'm going to show you how to blow a balloon up. Most people use pumps now. Very few use their mouths like I do. But if you do want to do that and want to try it, then give it a try. 260s are easier than the 130s, and of course the 350s are easier than the 250s, 260s. Okay, I'm going to do this with a 260 for you, and remember that if you stretch the balloon out, that helps. Okay, that does help make it a little bit easier, maybe a couple of times. And what that does is by stretching this, you create a heat pattern through the balloon. And sure, at times you've felt, well, remember when you take steel and go back and forth on it till it breaks and you touch that, it's real hot. Basically, it's almost what you're doing here. You're stretching it out and bringing it back. And that's a vibration, and the vibration causes heat. Warms the balloon up and breaks it down a little bit so that you can blow it up easier. The other thing is to put the nipple in here into your mouth, and only hold the balloon tight enough to hold it in your mouth, not to push it into your mouth, just to hold it there. It'll stay there. You don't have to squeeze it. Of course, if you squeeze it too hard, there's no place for the air to go. So that's another problem. The other thing is, as you're blowing the balloon up, if you give it just a tiny, tiny tug, helps. If you stretch it out, it makes it harder, much harder. But if you just give it just a tiny little tug, that helps. And then you put the nipple behind the lips or the teeth. Some people go behind the teeth, and I use just the lips. And when I start my balloons, the first little puff I give out is taken from my lips or my tongue, okay? I don't go to my chest for air until I have that first bubble. And the first bubble is just done by carrying your tongue to the back of the throat, shutting off your throat to your lungs, and pushing your tongue forward and pushing the air out. And that would be like this. Same thing, okay? And it's just from the mouth, nothing else, okay? And then after you get that, then that little slight tug, and then switch to the air, okay? I believe I've covered everything, so I'm going to blow this one up for you right now. There's the air from the mouth. That's all you usually get, just that little bit. And then switch to the lungs. Okay. And now, when you saw me go blow up, I wasn't really pulling on it. what I was doing was I was sizing this balloon with this hand. So this hand was really sizing what I was blowing up. Okay. Then it's always nice to give this thing a little burp and tie it. Now I'm going to show you how to tie these in the next segment of this, because I'm going to give you a little bit closer look at with my hands when I do that. But there's a way to tie these, and it's very easy, and they practically tie themselves. And I'll show you that in the next segment too. Of course, if you can't blow a balloon up with your mouth or anything, then you need a pump. There's several pumps out there. You can design something for yourself. You can buy something that's already made. There's a thing they call Pump One by T. Myers. There's electrical pumps. You can find them in almost any magic book, magic club books, clown club books, and some novelty things. Novelty shops, magic shops will have things like that. And the main thing with pumps is the fact that they blow up a little bit different than when you do them by hand or by mouth. Let me kind of demonstrate that by blowing this one up for you and making it like you would a pump. And what happens in a pump is that that's so close to that nipple now that I can't really tie it. There's nothing there to tie. And that becomes the problem, the biggest problem with pumps for people. And the answer to that is to make the bubble, which we're going to show you how to make bubbles a little later. Make a bubble on the end there and let the air out. Okay? And then you have that piece, then you have that area that you need to cut to tie that balloon. See all that there to tie on the end. Okay? And we'll do that a little later. I'll tie this one just to show you that they're easy to tie, and we can do that. One thing about pumps too is don't get caught up in the fact that I can't blow them up by mouth, so therefore I'm not a good balloon blower, or make any comments about anything like that. It's just the fact is the sculpture that you hand out, the sculpture that you make and hand out, that's the art. Whether you can blow them up by mouth or whether you can't makes no difference. Okay. I still blow by mouth because I can still do that faster than I can work with a pump at this point. I have a pump. If I need a pump, I'm going to have one available to me. I have one ready. I just don't use them because, like I said, I'm faster without them at this point. So that's the pump. Just remember that the sculpting, the balloon object that you hand out is the art. It's not how you blow them up. A little bit on markers. Some balloon artists feel that we shouldn't use markers at all because that ruins the art. And maybe they're right to a point, but actually I use markers to create extra things. Like I can make one thing, I can make a tiger, for instance, with stripes on it, black stripes. Or I can make that same tiger out of black, and then I have a panther, okay? Or I can make it out of a white thing and make it a white tiger, and it's the stripes that makes the difference, okay? So markers make a difference. I also think that with markers, if you're making something specifically hard for somebody to make out, you might want to use a marker to show them where the face is, so that, well, for instance, if they walk out with a giraffe, they know that the head is at the long end instead of the small end of the giraffe. So that's markers. Markers, by the way, should be, the markers you should use should be permanent markers. They shouldn't have any real sharp smells to them. It seems that the real sharp smell is an agent in them that pops balloons. So I use marks a lot. I've used others. Sharpie. There are Sharpies out there. There's two types of Sharpies. One Sharpie will pop them, and the other one won't. Just get to learn which one those are. Very nice colors. Marks a Lot has a lot of different colors to use. I use mainly red and blacks. Red, basically, like if I'm making a rabbit, I got a little rabbit ear with a little pink, and then I use the black one for the whiskers. So there's your markers. That's the way we use them, and types. The next thing I'd like to talk to you about is glue. Again, some sculptors say you can't use glue. That's not, what do you say? It's not right. It isn't a part of the art. But I've used glue quite a bit. When I told you about the balloon merry-go-round that I designed, it uses a lot of glue in it to hold it together. I do now make a merry-go-round that can be done without any glue at all, but I still like to use the glue to put the animals on anyway. I can do it without, but it's just better. I can place it better and make it look better because I use glue. This happens to be Elmer's rubber cement. There's Ross's rubber cement. Try not to get the rubber cement that's made for wood and shop type work. Try to get the rubber cement that's made for paper. When you bring it home, when you bring that bottle home, you open it up and just let it set like this for a while. I usually let them set for like about an hour or so, even a half hour. But what that does is it lets out. This stuff will pop balloons when it's brand new. It's just that strong. But by letting it stay open for a while, it lets all of that stuff out of there that's going to pop your balloon. It's a vapor. It vapors right out. And then close it back up and then use it. It works. I like it. It's the way it goes. The other thing I like to do when I'm blowing balloons is I like to have my colors where I can find them. And so in other words, if I want a purple balloon, I can grab it. If I want a dark blue balloon, I know where it is. If I want a black balloon, I know where that is. And the other colors, I know just where they're going to be or where I can find them. And that basically what happens is when you buy a bag of balloons, these are all mixed in together. If you buy balloons as solid colors, they're more expensive. Why? I haven't any idea. But by buying them mixed, you can buy them a little bit cheaper. And what I do is I sort them out. I sit at a table, I put the balloons down in front of me, and I first of all sort all of the light colors, the ones I can definitely tell, like the reds, the yellow, the orange, some of the other colors, and then the dark blue. I sort those out and put them in my box, and they're just all together. I can tell them apart by looking at them. The dark blue ones are the only dark ones in there, so I know that's all I have in there is the dark blue ones. Then I take the rest of them that are left, and there's 3 colors left, the green, the black, and the purple. I sort the greens out, and what I do is I put them on a table in front of me, and I have a light that's right here behind me shining over my shoulder down on the balloons. And you can kind of tell the difference in tints. Number one, the greens are very easily picked out. You can pick them right out. And the black, and the next thing is purple ones, the purple have a little red tint to them, and you can pull that out. The black ones have kind of like a greenish tint, so that helps. Okay, so when you're looking down at the balloons, and they're all laid out there, you can kind of separate them. And then I put those in separate bags, and those are sitting on my box next to me. And I know which ones they are because I put on it. There's green ones, purple ones, black ones. And if you get the other colors of balloons, there's Qualitex has been putting out. Can't think of the lighter colors, pastels, and in the pastels they have a brown balloon, which is close to the blacks in those, and I'll sort those out of those and put them in a separate box because I'll mix in both kinds. I'll mix in the regular Qualitex and the pastels. That's on sorting, and that's why I like to know where my balloons are. And then the next thing I'd like to talk about.
They have a metallic and a neon.
Okay. Kathy just brought up a question, and that is, there's other kinds of balloons. There's metallic and there's neon. I haven't worked much with neon yet. It's new to me. It doesn't work for me to have them with me at this point till I learn a little more about them. And once I do, I'll probably start using those. They are a different color. They're a little brighter color. I understand under black light they help a little bit. They're not real black light type things, I understand, but the black light will show them up. They are special colors. They're the chartreuse green, the yellows and the orange, and there's a pink in there too. I do have some. I just haven't gotten into using them yet. So that's where I'm at with the neons. And the metallic balloons. The neons blow up fairly easy, by the way, but the metallic ones are terrible to blow. They are good. They're nice. They seem to be like a little bit brittle. So in other words, you don't want to leave them too tight. They'll pop fairly easy if you leave them too tight. They're a little much harder to blow. They may need some help with those. That extra, I can blow them with the mouth yet, but I have to stretch them out before I blow them up, or I can't blow them up either. So that's the metallic, the neon, and how to sort them. And by the way, those don't need sorting. Those are all the colors in those are easily recognizable. A little bit on books. I strongly feel that people ought to buy books. Specifically, for starting, for instance, this kind of gives you the license to use what other people have designed. In other words, what I'm trying to say is other people have designed these things, and they're trying to help you by putting out a book and showing you how those are done. After you've been in it a long time and you've gotten books, then there's a lot of repetition, lots of repetition, and sometimes the quality isn't as good as the other. I like to, when I buy a book now, I like to pick up a book and find something I haven't done, I don't know, I haven't seen, I haven't developed myself. And if I see something I like that I've never done myself, I'll buy that book. Even if I can open that book up and study it close enough and quick enough to say, I can do that, and then put the book back down, I'll still buy that book because I feel that that person that designed or made up that special project that I'm going to use, that's the way I pay them for using that item. Okay, so that's why I do that, and you can buy books at